Talk to us about the situation in Dubai, inflation. How much of impact is it having on the buyers and the sellers and businesses around?
Well, thank you. Basically, Dubai is one good thing here is the ruler of the Dubai part of the Emirates is giving us foreigners a very good platform to do business. So it's the doors are open to pretty much all nationalities or race. Yes, with the recent visa issues with some African countries, of course, Nigeria being one of them, has really affected businesses related to African descent, mostly Nigerians, because this is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Right, right. So it has taken a turn, a very negative turn to Nigerian related businesses in terms of travel. For those of us that have got business tied up to Africa and the rest of mostly West Africa, Nigeria mostly, we are feeling the pain, you could say. There's not that much traffic, much. So it's something that we, being old residents of this country, have been aligning with the leaders, the rulers, chamber of commerces to try to sort out whatever differences are there between both countries. But one good thing for us is being Nigerians, we're very resilient people, and we don't just, for all business people here, we don't just depend just on the Nigerian market. We've extended our reach out to other regions to kind of make ends meet. But having said that, there has been a bit of a pinch in terms of business flow from Africa, mainly Nigeria. Real estate has been affected, pretty much tourism, hospitality, and for those of us that have got freight forwarding businesses have also been affected. And also with the recent currency situation, the Naira being devalued is also not helping matters. So we're pretty much struggling, you can say. But yeah, so that's the situation report for now. Hoping for the best.
Interesting. Prince, glad to have you join us on Early Exchange once again. Let me read out the statistics to you, and I would like you to react to it. Is either you confirm it or you refute it. According to this report, estimated monthly expenses for just an individual, it's about $1,000, and that's about 3,700 dirhams, excluding rent. And for a family of four, you spend 3 times more, which is about $3,540 monthly, which is equivalent to 13,000 dirhams. I would like you to react to these, either confirm it or refute it, talking about the cost of living in Dubai.
Well, on that note, it all depends on lifestyle. Now, you can have, of course, that's a bit on the high side. Dubai is a very, very cosmopolitan, city, whereby the different lifestyles that you can have here. So it depends on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. They have attended to different levels of income. We have different sectors. We have different cities within the city. So you can adjust your lifestyle to however you want to do it. You want to be the party person every week, every day, then that's your call. You want to have a 1-bedroom where you can manage with your 2 kids, then that's also your call. But on the average, I think the latter seem to be a bit expensive. But yes, on the average, with 3,000, approximately say 3,000 dirhams outside the rent, it's basic for a simple family that has got earning a salary of say 1,500 dirhams, which is about $1,500. That would be the average. So for the typical African, the typical Filipino, the typical Indian average income, I think that's it's a bit balanced. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
All right, let's look at what opportunities lie in here in spite of the inflation. Reports has it that investors, estate developers, real estate developers continue to join the UAE estate market, hoping for higher returns. Now, aside the real estate business, are there other businesses that this could be opportunity for or a good time for them?
Yes, there's a big opportunity, and thanks to COP28 and discussions going on green economy, of which we have a great potential to take advantage of that. The Dubai, UAE as a country is open to that. The Middle East is quite open to this, mainly because of their terrain. And, recently Sharjah has invested a lot in growing wheat. Now, for Nigeria, considering our dollar devaluation, we have a big advantage on our side in terms of our exports. We can look at the export market in terms of this market buys a lot of soya bean, a lot of sesame, there's cashew going to Vietnam through Dubai. So there's a lot that we can do to add value to this market. So at the end of the day, other than real estate, there's a lot of commercial transactions going on here. Dubai is now the hub. It's central for Asia, those in Europe. So every activity pretty much runs through Dubai, if I may say. Jebel Ali has provided a very good port, which is very efficient. There are other ports like Port Rashid, Hamria Port, one in Fujairah that does mostly oil and gas. We've got the port in Ajman, who's mostly controlled by CMA CGM. So there is a lot of trade transactions running through Dubai, breaking the traffic of in Singapore, bringing traction this way, supporting Europe, and of course the Americas. So I think we can add significant value to this market where Nigeria as a country can benefit, which will, in other words, bring FX back into the system and hopefully give the Naira some strength. So other than real estate, there is a lot that can be done in this country.
All right, Dubai is fast becoming the hub of tourism globally, and this also poses some challenges, which include, the influx of people into that city. How has this impacted infrastructure in that city, and how would you say the UAE authorities handling this?
They are handling it very, very well. Like my earlier speaker spoke, this country has really embarked on a journey of progression. They're very proactive, and there's a plan which is always set, probably every 10 years. We just have the 2030 initiative that has been launched by Sheikh Mohammed, I think, early last year. Every day it's more like a construction site. There's always something happening. Road expansion, new bridges, new tunnels. We're talking about the Hyperloop. Hyperloop will take you, on a good day, you drive almost 2 hours to Abu Dhabi. The Hyperloop will take you just 10 minutes. So this is expanding. Now we have the Etihad Rail. It's just been launched. Etihad Rail launched last year. It's a small country for them to have a railway line, but right now it's working. People will move cargo from Dubai to Fujairah, extending even up to Qatar. They've got the plans to extend to Qatar and Kuwait. So the infrastructure, they are investing heavily on infrastructure, knowing that there's big inflow into this region, and also setting up a pace, setting up a platform to be able to handle the traffic. Technology, they've employed a lot of technology, whereby security is paramount. So as many people that bring flows into Dubai, Dubai still feels very safe. Families from Europe are coming down here. Most of our tax breaks. Also looking at that, they've projected that there will be so much inflow into the country, whereby making alternative transportation. They're talking about air taxis. In the next 2 years, we'll probably have taxis flying up in the air, cars, flying in the air as air taxis. So these are the projections, these are the steps that the country is taking to curb the inflow of visitors coming into the country, and also and there's a lot of traffic. It's becoming almost like Lagos. But then they're taking that into consideration, making new railway lines, new metro lines to ease traffic flow. So they are really investing heavily in that infrastructure. And I think we as residents of this country have seen the country progress over the years and see the positive side of it. That's why we're still here today, to just take advantage of that infrastructure.
All right, since you made a bit of comparison between Dubai and Lagos in terms of traffic, let's expand the comparison. Now, for Dubai, that's relies heavily on importation. Nigeria does the same thing, but we've seen them handle that differently. So what can Nigeria learn in that aspect? It's always been said that one of the undoing of Nigerian economy is because it is import dependent, but we've seen that play out in Dubai and produce a different result. What's to learn there?
What's to learn there is the mindset. I really go back to what a friend of mine, Visu, the South African speaker normally talks about, and that is mindset. We need to change our mindset. In Dubai, you can hardly find potholes. Now for us, potholes and power failure has become a norm. It has become a thing that we think it's okay, and we just go with it. So when you have a lot of potholes on the road, definitely it leads to traffic. And then you have little accidents, some things, also policies that you put in place, rules. In Dubai, you don't take pictures when there's an accident, because what that does is rubberneck. A lot of people stop, take pictures, you slow down traffic, and then you now put it on social media, and you find people looking at your clips while you're driving. So you're not allowed to use your phones while you drive, otherwise you get hit with a big fine. Now, all these, at the end of the day, helps traffic flow. Now, Dubai gets concentrated. Where there's a traffic, you find diversions. The police department, the traffic department takes that extra step to have visual signs that directs traffic to say, you know what, there's a lot of traffic on this side, take alternative routes, and that eases traffic. So a lot of that goes back to mindset. We should not take things as it's okay. We're used to it, light goes out, it's okay. It's not okay, because at the end of the day, it becomes a ripple domino effect that happens, something else, then happens. So I think we have a lot to learn from countries like Dubai. I've been here for close to about 30 years. We've seen the city grow, we've seen the country grow, and we admire the leaders, because once they announce things, today they say, you know what, Zigzag Road from this exit to that exit is now 80 kilometers an hour. So when you see these signs, you have to slow down. You don't slow down, you get hit by a fine. So when you think of paying those heavy fines, then you know that it's time to, to be cautious. Yeah. So I think those are one of the measures we can take.
All right, it's interesting to know you've been in that city for 30 years. Maybe you deserve to have a chieftaincy title now. Right, that's on a lighter note. But let's look at the cost of doing business in UAE.
But I've declined that title.
I'm not sure if I could hear you. All right. Yeah, now, I succeeded in making you laugh. I wanted to do that, actually. All right. Now, let's look at the cost of doing business in Dubai, for instance, which is the point of attraction here. You see that investors, even tourists, they are more attracted to the city. Tell us, how is the cost of doing business like in that place? And what are the points of attractions to these investors and to these tourists? Could it be the cost of doing business or the business environment? And what are the things that can be imbibed in a country like Nigeria, looking at the reference point of Dubai when it comes to the business environment and the cost of doing business?
Thank you. That's a good one. Cost of doing business is very, very competitive. It's a very competitive market, a level playing ground for everybody. The country is doing everything within their power to attract investors, and not just to attract investors, to make investors stay. Example, with the new policy of the 10-year golden visa, they realized that they had to do something different. After the recession, after the COVID, a lot of people left, a lot of schools were shut down. So basically, they had to think of something. 3 years visa, 2 years visa is not just enough. It's not, there must be something more attractive to bring investors here. The country does a lot of promotion. The country advertises itself. They market themselves. They have security, which is their key. It's a very peaceful country. So basically they've reached out to all and sundry. You can set up a business with as little as $1,000. Now, they've got a setup where we call co-working spaces. If you have an idea, there's an area called Innovation Center. You come to DIFC, there's an innovation hub. You've got an idea, you pay a little bit of money, you get a license, you can run your business. You don't have to have staff. You want to have e-commerce, They let you have a license that you can operate online and market your goods while being regulated in terms of you have a department that takes care of such kind of businesses. Now, they're very hands-on, yeah, and they do encourage new innovations, new idea. For example, we've got a company in Nigeria that I've set up in Dubai that we know very well. It's a fintech company, AeroPay, for example. They're doing something different, offer what we used to in Nigeria, which is new to Dubai. So that's really something that the government wants to know, like, okay, fine, we have banks here. So what are you bringing differently? They say, well, we're bringing what you don't have. Now, in other words, you're adding value. So they welcome this kind of innovations, this kind of idea, what MoneyPoint is doing today. If that is replicated in Dubai, Dubai will be happy to receive them. So in business sense, there's a lot going on that they encourage. We just finished the Arab Health exhibitions. Everybody from around the world came. Right before that, there was Gulf Food. Everybody attended. Now, before that, again, there was COP28. COP28, this is the biggest and the best COP28 ever. Now, a lot of people, raise their comments about it. So Dubai as a state, as a city, of course, Abu Dhabi being the capital, they all now work together to promote the region as it may. Just last weekend, we had a investors forum, entrepreneur forum, which was in Sharjah, the next Emirates. And that was heavily funded by the government of Sharjah, that attracted some big names. So what we can learn or take away from this is, of course, security is key to attract people to come in, and then stability. In the economy of this country, for example, the currency has been pegged to the dollar for the last 30 years. It's been 3.66 since I've been in this country. So that is something that investors look at. But other than that, it is the only country where I've lived. I've been to a lot of countries, but this is the only country where you sit at a table, you find 20 people at that table, and all 20 are from different nationalities, and they all get along very well. Mexicans, Venezuelans, Vietnamese, Nigeria, South African, Brazilians, Finnish, we're all sitting on one table having lunch and smiling, and everybody's doing business as usual. So that's one good thing I have to give to them. That's what we don't have.
Okay, you've ruled out lots of incentives for investors, but let's look at one. Does Dubai provide, or the United Arab Emirates provide, access to credit for non-indigents?
Yes, they do. They have a very good credit system. Just like the United States, they've just started, they call it Etihad Bureau of Standards. So they do credit ratings, and as long as you've got your Emirates ID, you looked at an official resident of the country, then you have your credit cards, you have your typical loans, you can access mortgages. We have new fintech companies coming up, just like one called Tabi. Tabi will give you what is common in Nigeria anyways, but here it's buy now, pay later. You use Tabi, you can buy food, you can buy furniture, you can buy whatever you want, and you can pay in 6 installments. That comes almost automatic. Having lived here over the years, I'm not a credit card person. I don't believe in credit, but for those that do, you have access to that. As a business owner, you can have easy access up to 5 million dirhams, which is about $1.5 million, if your papers are in place. That can go up to $50 million. An individual, you can get as much as 250,000 dirhams, which is close to about $60,000 to $70,000. Which you can use. They have two platforms. You have a personal loan and you have a credit card, so you can access either both, and also a car loan. So having access to credit is there as long as you're disciplined, you have good credit score, you can access their loans.
We understand that globally interest rates are high, but these loans that you've talked about that provided for non-indigents in the UAE, at what rates does it go for? What is the rate attached to it?
Well, one good thing here is, which we all take advantage of, to be fair to the country, it's an Islamic country. So Sharia compliance is on the paramount. So that taking into consideration, the interest is well controlled, even though in some cases it's not as mentioned as interest, it's called profit. It's really within the range, quite reasonable ranges from 2 to 5 to 6%, can go as high as 10, depending on your qualifications and your credit score. So interest is not really, that high as we experience in Nigeria, where it goes up to 22%. That would be ludicrous in this market. So as far as interest goes and profits, it's very reasonable, and yeah.
Okay, let's look at as a way of handling the inflation. Now, you mentioned earlier that handling a bill of at least $1,000 for monthly expenses, personal monthly expenses, and between $3,000 for a family of 4 in Dubai is going to be hard on Africans and Asians living there. So in Nigeria, when issues like this happen, you find that there is a call for wage bump. Do you see that happening in Dubai as a way to handle this? How do you think the United Arab Emirates government is going to handle the rise in inflation in the country?
Well, that is across board. It's not just United Arab Emirates. They're doing their bit in terms of trying to curb that. Mostly for the indigenes, they've got subsidies. For us as foreign expatriates in the country, again, lifestyle plays a major role. With the situation in our region with Yemen and the tension within Israel, it has definitely affected cost of living because most shipping lines coming this way, the freight has increased. The country is dependent almost 80% on imports. We have a few factories here manufacturing, so definitely they are doing their bit. A lot of controls are in place whereby you don't, inflation is not as, let me say, you can never have 100% inflation here. Inflation rate probably slightly between 2, 3, 4% increase, mainly because, like I said, the tensions in the region. But other than that, the crazy prices that we'll experience in other regions, you won't have that here. So it's a bit controlled. They do have the municipality that makes their rounds. We do have announcements monthly on the fuel increase and why it's increased. So you have that on the news. Other than that, I think it's basically following the international trend. Again, currency plays a very good advantage here, whereby it's been pegged. So you can feel a bit of the pinch. For example, last month, we got tomatoes, which is one of the cheapest stuff here. Tomatoes going for 3 dirhams a kilo, and now as high as 6 dirhams a kilo, or let's say 5 dirhams. So it's almost like, 60% increase, but then it suddenly drops again. So it all depends on the freight of getting the tomatoes here. So I think inflation is quite controlled, if I'm allowed to use that word.
All right, interesting. What a way to wrap up this conversation. Know that you are the right mind for this kind of conversation. 30 years is not a joke. So thank you for your time and your thought on the cost of living in UAE, and also giving us the business opportunities and idea, painting a picture of the business environment in UAE. We must thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. And to cap this off, just like you said, I have to say this: we were one of the few that brought the Nigerian embassy to this country. We used to be in Kuwait, and I think in the early 90s with Ambassador Abdullahi Gwari, Kuwait, we made it a point of duty to ensure that we had an embassy here. And thanks to him, he made it happen. So we opened the first Nigerian embassy in the UAE. So that is something that we pride ourselves with because we saw the growing demand and the inflow of Nigerians beginning to come here. I mean, I must tell you, when I came here, we were just about 20 Nigerians in this country. Today, we have over 1,000. So, yeah, so we're proud and happy with the developments, and just hope for more mutual working relationship on a G2G basis.